Hello. We're going to talk about the operating conditions available in the new DL3000 series electronic load from Rigol. The first modes we're going to talk about are the static modes. In these modes, you set a constant current, voltage, power, or resistance, and the load draws energy from the device under test to meet those conditions. The high accuracy modes of the DL3000 enable you to read back currents as low as 0.1 milliamps, voltages down to 0.1 millivolts, powers as low as 100 milliwatts, and allows you to set resistances between 0.08 ohms and 15k ohms. Let's take a look at how to set up the instrument for these static load conditions. Here we are with our DL3031A 300 watt electronic load from Rigol. The first static mode we're going to look at is the constant current mode. Here in constant current mode, we set a current. Let's set it to 1 amp. You can also set a range, slew rate. The voltage on setting is the power supply must reach a certain voltage level before it activates. And then of course your limit levels. In this case, they're set at the maximum, 180 volts and 70 amps. Today we just have the device connected to a simple power supply at 30 volts. So let's activate this. And here we see loading a constant current right at 1 amp level. Now in all these modes, the instrument shows you your voltage, your current, your power, and the resistance that the load is presenting to the device under test at all times. If we switch to constant voltage mode, we can see, let's set the voltage down to 28 volts. We have the same current limits and voltage limits set. And if we activate that, we see that the load draws down to 28 volts, pulling the power supply down. To do that, it has to draw 3 amps from it. So the power supply is really limited at 3 amps here. And once you pull 3 amps, it starts to droop. So the load's job is to pull the voltage down to the level we've set. In constant resistance mode, we actually are setting a resistance value that the load will show to the device under test. For this test, let's pick 15 ohms. So we've set that at 15 ohms. Let's activate it. So as we expect, a 30 volt supply presented with 15 ohms drives 2 amps. That's about 60 watts, 30 volts and 2 amps. So we can see getting continuous readings and updates on all these values as we draw down the device under test. We can be testing it long term for repeatability or looking for bugs and errors as well. And the last of the static modes is really the constant power mode. So here you can set a much simpler wattage that you want to draw from the device under test, and it finds the right voltage and current levels to match that. So this one's set at 75 watts. So at 75 watts, that's 2.5 amps from this 30 volt supply. In summary, these static modes are a great way to get started with your DC electronic load. They enable you to load your device using constant current, voltage, resistance, or power modes with high resolution and accurate measurements.